Hey everybody, my name is Chase Pipes and this is Chasing History, brought to you by Arrowheads.com and Smoky Mountain Relic Room. And this time we're up here with my buddy Ty. Ty, thanks for having us up, man.
Betcha.
Dude, this is awesome! This is dinosaurs, man! Like, in the ground, on the site, dinosaurs. Now Ty, what period are you digging here?
This is Jurassic. This is the Morrison Formation of the Jurassic, so you're about 140 million years old.
But here's what's cool is that this history is exciting just on its own, just by itself. And we're gonna go down in the core and we're gonna show you how. So come on with us, let's go down and check out the quarry, okay? All right, now here we are, we're coming down into Ty's quarry. Now Ty, explain, now we're on the side of a mountain here, and if you look back behind us, come here, check this out. If you look back behind us, we've got these huge mountain ranges and stuff like that, and we've got all these different bands of color of rock. Ty, what's the deal with these mountain ranges, the different colors of rock? Are they
different layers of time? This big sand layer was actually a big sand dune structure that went through, millions of years ago. It was a Sahara Desert that was in the middle of the United States.
Yeah.
When you move into this area here, this is the Morrison, and it is...
Now when you say the Morrison, now when you use names like that, that's for a geological layer.
It's for a layer, yeah. It's for basically, they usually was like an event type. Between here and here, it was all similar.
Because see guys, what you got to understand is that the earth is layered up like pancakes with all these layers on top of each other. The dirt that you're standing on now will eventually collapse down in the road and it will be its own compact layer. And they name these layers of dirt formation depending on what happened during that period at that time. And so when Ty uses the word like the Morrison, he's describing that period, that event layer. Now how big can a layer like that spread out?
They can be huge or they can be small. It just depends. It's just the geological forces that were back then are still in act today. I mean, in Utah we have some sand dunes that are only 10 acres. We still have a Sahara Desert in Africa that's, hundreds of thousands of miles. I mean, how many miles is it? I mean, I shouldn't say hundreds of thousands, but tens of hundreds of miles. So it can really change depending. The Morrison Formation goes from Montana all the way to Arizona. So what we had was a big mountain range that headed north to south in America, and all the dirt that was eroding out of those mountains going across the plain to the inland sea was all this colored dirt. And as it settled in braided streams and stuff, and that's where the dinosaurs lived.
Okay. Now we've got these geological layers here. Ty, can you explain us exactly what we're looking at?
Well,
why are these different colors?
Yeah, what you've got in the Morrison is you've got a lot of volcanic ash, you've got a lot of different clays and sediments. And depending on what minerals are in them, as they oxidize, you get different colors. Irons are reds, coppers are greens and blues. So you can look up and you can kind of see the layers here a little bit. It's eroded some, so it's a little bit harder to see. But something that I've always found interesting about this quarry is you can see that big yellow half circle right there. Now that's just like our salt and pepper and clay white sand down here. What that is a big trough that eroded down, but that's modern. That's all the yellow sandstone from on top of the hill that's fell down and filled that back in.
Ah, okay.
So that's all modern there where it's eroded down into it. You can see over here the white sand, another single event that's in the middle, but it's just one small area right there.
So when he's saying events and stuff like that, these are like chapters in a book.
Yeah.
And each chapter tells a totally different story with totally different animals, totally different climate, totally different things going on the earth. See, here's what's hard for a lot of people to understand is that when you look out your window right now, wherever you're at, whether driving down the road, in a car and you're bored watching YouTube, or you're sitting at the house bored watching YouTube, look out your window. The trees, the environments, the plants, and the animals there are always going to change, no matter what. What they are today is not what they're going to be in the future. So, and those areas are marked by these chapter layers, different things happening in different chapters. And that's what, guys, people use in order to discern and discover what is located where is by these different layered chapters. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. It's like geology naked.
It's reading a story. It's reading a book. As you go farther back in the book, the older it gets.
Yeah. God, it's cool. And then eventually you get to dinosaur bone. Now, when you know to go to a site, because here's something I get asked a lot of questions is how do you know where to dig?
Well, you want to find dinosaur bones. That's the easiest thing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you've got a couple different things to. I mean, obviously, an area that's been known to have dinosaurs in the past, a geologic formation. Some things will preserve bone better than others. You know, you're not going to find a lot of good preserved dinosaurs in the middle of a sand dune, whereas in a swamp or in a flash flood event, you can find that stuff. You know, we don't know, we'll never know what sort of dinosaurs lived on top of mountains. They didn't get fossilized, they didn't get preserved, because that was eroding instead of getting buried.
See, that's one of the questions I've got where I live in East Tennessee is you know, we're in the southern highlands of the Appalachian Mountains. You know, those mountains formed 350 million years ago, and they were mountains like the Himalayas when the dinosaurs were alive. So, you know, it's like I get people coming to me, you know, from Tennessee saying, oh, I've got a dinosaur bone from Tennessee, and it's like, well, you can't, because, you know, they were mountains then, and things just don't fossilize in mountains, you know? And just get into a little bit more detail, you know.
Well, you want to be the right time period to start with.
Okay.
You know, if you've got something that's only 20 million years old, the dirt that, you know, if you live on a hill and that dirt's only 20 million years old, you're not going to find 140 million year old dinosaurs in it. So, you know, and if you live where it's limestone, limestone's a marine sediment, you know, like a reef type environment, you're not going to find a dinosaur in a reef.
Right.
So it's very specialized where they got fossilized at. They had to be buried fairly quickly. They had to be good mineralization. You know, oxygen poor environment helps to preserve things, stuff like that.
So, you know, you got a dinosaur that that lives in the mountains, dies on the side of the mountains, falls into the river. The only way that it's going to get fossilized is if it makes it far enough downriver to a flat, level area, and then a flood comes and buries it under a whole bunch of dirt real quick.
Yes.
That's the only way you're going to get these types of fossils found in mountains. But now out here at the, you know, we're in Colorado, and what was this area like during the Jurassic period?
It was a fairly flat floodplain, braided streams winding through. So what you had was all the dirt washing down from the mountains and little swamps and little estuaries and oxbows on the rivers and stuff, and a lot of life and a lot of dinosaurs. So you get a channel or something, you know, just depend. I mean, it's like today, the rivers shift and they move and they'll cut down, and then the next event will happen, it'll fill it back up. So you get a lot of braided streams and stuff, and you get what we feel happened here was, and we can show you a little bit closer when we get is.
Well, here, let's go ahead and check it out. Come on, guys. God, this is cool.
It's a little bit hard to see. Let's show you right here. See, on this right-hand side, you've got this clean white sand layer that's just a couple feet thick.
Okay, so from right here
Up.
to right here, this layer.
Yeah.
And it's that different colored layer.
It's a different color
What's
layer.
below
Now
and
we consider that an event.
Okay.
So that's one event. So all that sand is similar and was put down at the same time.
Right.
Now that could have been a river that was a week, or that could have been a river that took several years to put down that sand. We don't know. But if you look across the cross section, across the whole quarry, you can see how thick it gets down here by this white tarp.
Right.
So down here it gets thick.
So it's just gigantic.
So it gets 7 feet thick here in the middle.
Right.
And then over here on the far left side, see how it gets thin again.
So it's kind of like
It's a big dish.
a big dish.
It's a big dish.
Yeah.
And so what that is it's a river channel, just like a creek today has.
Right. Has a deeper middle.
Deep dish.
Yeah.
And as we're digging this, we also find sandbars and we find the different structures in it. So what we have is, we have an event below it. We call this the salt and pepper, and we call this the clean white sand. It's just a descriptive term we use so that we can kind of keep track of what is going on.
Okay. All right. So we got this salt and pepper layer here that you were showing us.
Yeah.
So
the salt and pepper layer is a different event. There's a definite line between one and the other. And this initial event, if you look really close, you can see all. This is all pieces of dinosaur bone.
right there.
Yes, they're all open cells. They're all tumbled. I mean, none of these look like bone. They're all just blown up. They're all tumbled. They're all broken, just like streams, pebbles in a stream.
Right.
So what I've always envisioned with this site, and I could be wrong, is that you had a stream bed. The water was drying up. It was getting low water. You have the crocodiles, the turtles, the things like that
All
congregating
during the
in a
thing,
tighter, smaller area. A lot of death going on, just like in the Serengeti in Africa today. You know, we've seen the the history, or not the history, but the wildlife shows where they're, you know, all the lions are killing everything, waiting at the water holes, and they got the elephants laying on the side of the river dead, and they've all decomposed and whatnot. And that goes on for months at a time until the rains come, and then everything's been chewed up and beat up and tore apart by the predators and the crocodiles. And you have a big rainstorm come and a big flash flood event, and it washes all this stuff down the river, and it tumbles and it jumbles and it all gets messed up and all gets broken up, and then it gets deposited. And so in that layer you can find some bones, and we find a lot of shed teeth, but you don't find many good bones. You don't find articulated limbs. You don't find whole dinosaurs in this. The next layer above, this clean white sand, is more of a fine grain. It's a little bit laid down, a little bit more even. There's not big jumbled messes. And that's the layer we find articulated limbs and whole dinosaurs in. And what I envisioned was, after the initial flash flood, you had a slower moving stream that either dinosaurs would get mired in, or the predators would kill them alongside, and they fall in the river, and then they get buried, and then they get buried in that sand and get fossilized.
So that gray layer that we're sitting on right now,
Yes.
you know, that's your older, that's your jumbled up.
It's older, but I mean, and that's what's so hard about this stuff. It could be a year older, or it could be a million years older.
Right.
There's no way to tell.
Yeah. But definitely after this event, you get this slow-moving.
You get the slow-moving stream that has more large animals in it.
And the evidence in it is this white banded layer
Yes.
that we showed earlier.
Yes, it's a sand. It's just like a river today. When you see a river that's full of pebbles and rocks, it's usually a faster moving stream than a nice sandy bottomed river.
Okay. And you look for these spots, these outcroppings, in the sides of hills as the hills are eroding. You see them you see bones start to pop out.
Bones
you see
just
this.
The Morrison Formation, you can walk almost anywhere and just see bones falling out of the ground. They're just coming out.
And kind of your hot spots are like places like this where there was an ancient river channel.
Yeah, I mean you have events, and you have like point bars and curves on the stream and stuff, just like log jams where they would get stuck and they stack up. When you find a dinosaur bone, you usually don't just find a bone. You'll find a big bone with other bones jumbled up, stacked up against it, all tangled together.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now we know how to identify sites and what to look for. Let's go see how you can actually get them out of the ground. This is so cool, dude. Thanks, man. This is awesome. All right, come with us. All right, so we've got these layers here. Now explain what we're seeing right here.
What we've got in the middle of this quarry is you've got the clean white sand, but underneath it, this salt and pepper had this big sandbar in it. This is this high humped up spot. Now our layers are tipped up at about a 20-degree slope.
We're
going
looking
into
at
the
an
hill.
angle right here.
Now what was deposited was flat, but the mountain's been pushed back up. So it's kind of hard to, you have to look at it sideways to really think about what it actually should be.
You gotta get a little. I see it. I see it now. Everything's making sense.
Yeah. But what we have is this big sandbar in the middle, this hump in the middle of this salt and pepper. Now what we've done is, where the beginning of this was where we found a lot of dinosaur bones. So just like on a sandbar in a river today, you get that jam up of logs and bones at the front of the sandbar. And on each side of that sandbar, we've got bones as well, where they've pushed out around and been sat down. Now the center of this, the bones have kind of disappeared. We've not found any for quite a while. Now what we're expecting is where that sandbar comes back together and you start getting that backwater, slow water behind it, there's going to be a big mass of bones again.
Yeah.
So
when you've got layers like this, with all these jumbled up bones, like when we were digging earlier, the bones seem to be, polished and cobbledy and just all over.
They're tumbled into little rocks is basically all they are. There's not much to them. They don't have any real structure. I mean, we do find some decent bones, some that are identifiable, so we have to take it so we don't just rip it out.
Right.
But there's also a lot of shed teeth. Dinosaurs shed their teeth like sharks, so you get a lot of loose teeth in here, and that's what we dig it mostly for.
That's a real interesting thing that you don't really hear about is that dinosaurs, just like sharks, have a rotating tooth column that just keeps producing and spitting out teeth and spitting out teeth. Now on this, like we were going through here earlier, you're going through and you've got this rock, and we're breaking this rock open, and inside this rock are all these little, like here.
All these little pieces of bone.
Like you've got bone here, bone there. I think we can get a chunk out and
you can look and see, I mean, that's all bone. And what we do is we break it. And it sounds funny, but breaking it is probably the best thing to do, because then you can make a clean break and see if there's anything good and put it back together if there is something good.
See, there's bone.
See, there's a nice little piece of bone right there, but it's not a real good bone. Oh, you know what? I lied. It is a good bone.
Yeah. What is it? What do we got?
That is going to be, it's either vertebrae or theropod toe. Let's see what I have here.
Only on
But you can
Chasing
see,
Mystery.
but so what you've got is, let me show you real fast on some of these, is you don't have any skin. It's open cells all the way to the outside.
Okay, so when you
There's
say
no-
open, so that's like the
That's
interior
the cell,
of the
yeah,
bone,
the interior of the bone. There's nothing to it. This one, if you look, has skin on it.
Oh, wow.
See if I can get it popped out and see what it is.
And so when this is basically the process that you do when you're going through and peeling through. You're just grabbing these little
I'm grabbing these
chunks of rocks
pieces and
just-
looking and seeing what's there. Okay. Now, the funny part is, I probably lied to you, and it's just a piece.
That's all right. It's still neat. You know what's fascinating about this
It's
is
just a tumbled piece. I thought I could see the nice
Okay.
round area, but see, it's just a tumbled piece of bone that gets tumbled into a nugget. You can see the cells in it. No skin.
And see, that's what's bad thing about this layer is that it's so thin, and the bone in it, is so fractious and it breaks apart. You can't really. There's not a good way to preserve it or to save it.
No, you use a lot of glue to keep stuff together.
Yeah.
But the little nuggets of bone, I mean, other than if somebody wanted to just say they had a piece of dinosaur bone, there's not really any scientific value to it. You don't learn much from it. We try to save everything that's good scientific value. This one we popped out just a little bit ago.
Oh wow! Now what species is this?
This can be an allosaur. You can see the serrations on the edge.
Wow. That's a fantastic tooth. Yeah. So that's what you get mixed up in these layers also.
That's the layers get mixed up.
Yeah, just like, you'll find shark's teeth on the beach. This was at one point, a sandbar. You'll get these shark's teeth, or these dinosaur teeth mixed up in with these bone layers.
Well, you have all this bone, so it was obviously dead dinosaurs. So you had all these predators feeding and, working on them and chewing on them and losing teeth. And all those teeth got buried the same time as the bone did.
Now here we've got something really cool that we're going to show you. Now this is the other layer that you were explaining.
Yes, this is the very bottom of the clean white sand layer. And what we have in here is a giant sauropod. This right here is one femur. That's the same bone that you have right here in your leg. So this dinosaur would be about 14 foot tall at the hip. So 90 foot long.
God, that's incredible. So when you find a big bone like this, what's your first go around? What's the first things that you're going to start to do?
Well, what we do is we peel the dirt back slowly, a little bit at a time, and we have to preserve and take care of the bone. The bone in here is soft. It's not very hard. So as we pull the bone back, we have to put glue in it and make sure it's stabilized, make sure it's hardened so it doesn't break, so we don't lose it.
Right.
So you just take your time, you work the bone, you work the dirt back, you inject the glue into it, you make sure it's stable.
And this bone is
And
kind of
this
like
is
a
kinda-
sponge.
This is kind of like, first thing we do is dig it out like this, we'll work it all the way down. Secondly, we work it and dig down the sides and try to get underneath it, stabilize as much as we can. At that point, we'll take tin foil, wrap it in tin foil. Well, we'll put wet newspaper down, then we'll put tin foil, and that gives us a separating layer so that whatever we put on it can pull back apart. We put plaster Paris and burlap on it and wrap it. So it's just like when you break your arm or leg, we want to hold it stiff so it doesn't get hurt, so it doesn't get broken. Because I mean, that's going to be a 350-pound bone, and to get it out of here, I can't be just gently picking it up and putting it in the truck. It's going
know.
to take some work.
But this is what's insane. I mean, you know, here we are, you know, we're in a quarry and we're sitting here next to, it's a dinosaur, freaking bad. You can touch it, it's right there. And, you know, all this stuff that you see in these museums, this is how it all starts. You know, those bones don't look all fancy, you know, like they are when you go to the museum and see them. They all start out like this in the ground, and there's a long process that goes into getting these bones out of the ground. And just, oh, this is so cool. Oh, this is awesome, you know? I mean, man, I mean, I'd have lost it if I'd have, you know, I mean, it's just,
Oh, it's exciting.
God,
it's
you know?
exciting. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's short bursts of excitement with a lot of work in between.
Yeah. So, you know, when you get to stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what do you, are you expecting that the rest of the animal is going to be here?
You know, we always hope for complete animals. I mean, it's very possible we found several complete animals in this quarry,
Yeah.
but we also find loose bones and disarticulated limbs. The last little animal we found in here was an Othnielia, 6 foot long, complete, just all there laid up in a little ball, washed in, got buried up, which is one of the reasons I think it's a fairly fast event. He got
Yeah.
buried fairly quick. You know, a little 6 footer would get broke up fairly quick. But then we find these loose bones here that obviously, you know, they're not articulate anymore. They've broken apart a little bit.
Right.
So,
God, this is so insanely cool. So, God, this is awesome, man. So, okay, so bones like this, now you got the plaster jacket on and everything like that. What's your next process?
well, we plaster jacket, we turn it over,
Yeah.
we do the same thing to the other side. Then we'll take it back to the shop, we'll take it back to the prep lab, cut it open, you get out your scribes, and you sit there and you work all that dirt, everything off it that's not bone, and you get it down, worked
all
down.
this pieces of dirt here, you get it down.
You
to
get
the
all
bone.
this little
Right.
stuff off it, all this stuff that's not
Yeah.
bone, so you can see all the little detail of the bone.
Right.
And then we also do restoration too. Now, restoration in the fossil world is kind of a funny thing to say because people think of restoration as faking,
Right.
which we don't fake anything. But what we do is when you see there's a big open
Giant
crack
gaps
here.
right there, yeah.
No, this is natural. This is nothing we did. The ground shifts around here. You can see how all the cracks go the same direction because of the hillside slump. The hillsides of the mountain's sliding off, so everything's cracked going in. So what we'll do is we'll repair that so it can't come apart and can't get damaged anymore so that we can do something with it. And we might fix, depending on what it is, we may fix if there's a piece missing, we may replace it. It just totally depends on what is being done with that bone. Some stuff we won't repair. This right here,
Where it's
you know,
kinda
you've got
collapsed in on
a
itself.
nice smooth bone, but see right here,
Yeah.
that's caved in.
Right.
So as that bone was rotting and all that heavy dirt on it,
You'll leave
crushed
it
that
like
bone.
that, yeah.
But we'll leave that.
Okay. All right. Cool. God, this is awesome. All right. So here you got these layers and these bones and this site, and this is just phenomenal. And I mean, you want to talk about a heck of a way to make a living, dude. God, this is
Well,
so
it's not
cool.
living yet. We're trying.
A bone at a time.
That's
yeah.
one bone at a time. You
time.
betcha.
Well, if
You
I find a
betcha.
bone, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
God, this is awesome, man. This is so cool. So, all right. So, what more do you think that you're going to get out of this quarry? How's the evolution of this quarry going to work for you?
This quarry, what it is, this is the third time we've worked it back. It started out on the face of the hill where was eroding out naturally. We
Yeah.
keep working it back. We've got another layer underneath that we know has bone. We've not found anything above. This event could be, I mean, we could go another 5 miles in the mountain. We could go
Yeah.
another 5 feet and find out there was another stream that cut
Right,
through it
yeah,
and it's gone.
Yeah.
There's just no idea how much could be here.
Right.
We expect this to actually go for quite a few years, though.
Wow,
There's
that's
probably
awesome.
a 20-year life to this
So
quarry.
you'll basically dig it until it just peters out and there's no more.
Yeah, it is, yep.
God, that's so freaking God, that's so cool, man. Cool. All right.
All right, so what we've got right here is we've been digging in the salt and pepper, looking for teeth, looking for good bones. And what I've done is I found a bone that we can tell is a decent one because it's got skin on it. Now what I've done is I've excavated it out, I've been putting glue on it to make sure it's stable. Now I just was getting ready to pop it out so we can see what it is. Now identifying the bones is one of the hardest things there is because you got just a piece of bone sticking out of the ground and seeing what it is exactly. is tough. I'll stabilize the side, and then I'll show you guys what we got going on here. Okay, now this is very cool. So what you've got right here, it doesn't look very much yet, but what it is this is a hand bone, a finger, to a theropod. So this is the hand bone off a meat eater.
So all theropod dinosaurs were meat eaters.
All theropod dinosaurs were meat eaters. That is correct.
So, and when you say
a theropod is like your Allosaur, your Torvosaur, your T-Rex, all those dinosaurs, all those two-legged dinosaurs that ran around on two legs with their little short arms were theropods.
okay,
So that is actually a very cool bone. Now that bone can be identified. We can tell exactly what type of species and how big of a dinosaur that was from that bone. So you've got that knuckle right there. Was just.
oh, that's cool. God, that's awesome.
So the next bone would have just slid around on that
right,
piece.
yeah.
And then you have the big sexy claw at the end.
Right, yeah. God, that's cool. So what species is it?
This is probably going to be an Allosaur, more than likely. It's pretty big Allosaur though. The Allosaur was one of the most common ones in the Jurassic.
Yeah. Now, what kind of tools that I see you've got a very unique and eclectic array of tools, from a steak knife to a paintbrush. These I can see make sense.
These
but,
these are your common digging tools when you're out in the field. But
what's going on with the steak knife?
it sounds funny, but this is one of our most common tools. And what we use it for is you can slide it between the layers and you can pop these layers up. You can, when you're looking at the bone and when you do find a bone, they slide down the sides very carefully and peel it off.
Wow.
Depending on how delicate it is, we will go down to dental tools, but this is our most commonly used tool. So the idea is to pop the dirt off, brush all the dirt you can out of the way, and then penetrate it with glue to keep it from falling apart. Now what you don't want to do is blow it up with the knife, scatter the pieces, and glue all the matrix back to the bone. Which happens all the time.
You hadn't heard of that style of digging? It's called Picasso digging.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Don't do it.
Do that.
So, you got the bigger picks here, like the pick and the rock hammer. Is that just to knock away these thicker layers?
Yeah, it's to pull out the bigger pieces.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot of times we use this stuff to actually get down to the layers, to get down to it. Some stuff, these layers here, we don't normally use them because there's so much stuff in it. The clean white sand layer, like over here, you can see you're not seeing bone all over, you're not seeing anything. So we use it a lot of times to pop a large piece out and look at it. Now it sounds like a horrible thing that you're going to break the bone, but that's how you find the bone, is by doing that a lot of times. And if you have a clean break, it's easy to put it back together.
Yeah.
As long as it's a nice clean break, you can put it back together fairly good. If it's smashed and crumbled up and whatnot, you can't.
Seems like that there's a lot of destruction in paleontology in order to reconstruct what was
It
once
happens.
there.
You get bones that are warped and mangled and twisted, and a lot of times you have to take those broken pieces apart and straighten them back out, or else you just end up having a mess that you wouldn't even make sense.
Yeah.
You'd have a nerf dinosaur.
Nerfosaurus. He was the plant eater sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
That's great. So that's kind of the tools of the trade. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that's awesome. Good idea, Isaac. That's our cameraman, Isaac. Everybody's got to check out our cameraman, Isaac. Isaac is our official cameraman of this trip.
Yeah.
Junior dinosaur hunter. Isaac, tell us what you found.
Oh, what I found.
Yeah.
What I found is
Now watch where you're stepping.
Oh, yeah, I know. I found this piece of a dinosaur bone.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Uh-huh.
See, this piece he has skin on the outside.
Now go into skin. So when you're
Okay.
talking about skin, it's not like
No.
yeah.
Just like bones today, just like if you find a cow bone or a steak bone or anything else, the inside you have marrow.
Mhm.
The outside doesn't have those cells, doesn't have all those little cells in
so
it.
when you're saying cells, that's, you see this
Yeah.
white and the black and the white and the black and the white
Yeah.
and the black. That's all
That's
the cells, the
cell,
chambers.
yeah, the marrow in the bone. And then you have a hard layer that doesn't have that on the outside. So the outside of the bone has the hard layer. And that's an easy way to tell if it's going to be a good bone or not, is if you have that nice hard layer.
Okay.
If it all looks like this, at least in our stuff, the bone's broken up to the point that there's not much you can do with it.
Right, yeah. Isaac, that's an awesome find, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, well, now we've showed you pretty much just the basics. Here's the thing, guys, is this is just YouTube. This is just something real short and real simple. There is so much more that goes into this. You know, talking about the geology, you know, the natural history of the period itself, and what it takes to get this stuff out of the ground. You know, we're trying to show you in just a short few minutes, you know, what's taken, you know, what Ty has done, you know, for just about, you know, a life.
4 years in this hole.
4 years in this hole to get to where we're at now, you know, so there's a whole lot more to it. But, you know, that's the whole point of everything is that, you know, if you want to learn more about it, is get out there and read and learn and study, you know. There's stuff out here to find. It's out there. It's not necessarily as rare as you think,
No.
but you've just got to find it. How rare are dinosaur bones?
Depends on the formation. The Morrison Formation, they're not rare at all. I mean, you've got almost 1,000 miles of Morrison Formation, and I've never been anywhere on the Morrison Formation and not been able to find a dinosaur in an hour.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Just the whole thing, just they're
Now,
that plentiful.
They're that plentiful in that formation. Now, what the problem is most of those areas are on public BLM Forest Service property.
Let's get into that for a second.
We can get into that a little bit. Now, we are a little bit different. Most people, when they think of dinosaurs, they think of the scientific community, museums, and, you know, it's sitting in a little lab with their little dental picks and stuff.
Right.
And that is very important. That's where the majority of the knowledge of the dinosaurs come from. However, there's 20, 30 of those guys that can dig those, and 1,000 miles of dinosaurs washing out of the mountain.
Now, when you say 20, 30 guys, that's by the government,
that's
licensed,
in the United States, yes.
That's
That could actually.
They've got the card.
They got the card, yes. Now they do a wonderful job for what they've got. They're underfunded. They're understaffed. How many 100-foot dinosaurs can you stand up? Now the problem is that there's a lot of people that want dinosaurs for, you know, the Crown Prince of Dubai wants dinosaurs to put in his palace. He can buy a dinosaur. Now, to me, that doesn't hurt anything because a lot of what we do is salvage work. We actually find dinosaurs that are washing out of the hill, and it's just, if we don't capture it, it's eroding away.
Right.
Nobody else is capturing
You're
it.
saving what's being destroyed because once, like, you know, it probably, for this bone to be exposed, it probably would have took another 30, 40,000 years for it to be exposed.
These ones here, yes.
You know, but some that were
But
on the
when
surface.
we started here, they were on the surface
Yeah.
weathering out. So all that material could have been gone
And
within
once
a couple
it's
of years.
once it's exposed to rain, the sunlight,
Sun,
weather. See,
freeze
that's
and thaw.
that's one of the big things that in this series that we try to explain, and this is true for prehistoric artifacts, antiques, fossils, whatever, is that this stuff is out there. It's abundant.
It
It's
is.
not necessarily as rare as you think it is. It's available. And the problem is that the earth is still eroding. The earth is still doing its thing. And when this stuff gets exposed, as soon as this is exposed to the sun, the light, the rain, everything, it starts to disappear, turn back into dirt. So what guys like Ty do is they come in and they preserve this stuff and protect it, they salvage it, and they save it. And then they offer it for sale for whoever
do.
wants it. And
Now, if we find anything important, I mean, we do donate important stuff to the academic community. And we hope, I mean, anybody that does this, their dream is, I want my stuff to be in museums. I would love to think that what we're digging is that important and that good.
yeah.
But a lot of museums, people don't realize, are actually private entities and can't get dinosaurs unless they buy them
From guys like
from
you.
guys like me.
Yeah.
They can't just go dig their own dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, and it's important to say, because here's the thing about artifacts and especially fossils is that there's more fossils out there, there's more artifacts out there than all the museums in all the world could ever hold.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why it's up to you who are out there watching, the private individual, to take care of this piece. Once it's been found, once it's been discovered, you can have the opportunity to take care of it because this stuff is time travelers. You know, this piece has lasted, what is it, 156 million
Million
years?
Yep.
And now it's exposed, and it's in our care, in our charge, and it's our job now to ensure it's transitioned down through the generation, because now it's a time traveler and it can tell a story. So it's not, and so all the museums in the world can't hold all this information, all this history that's out there. So it's important to you to take it upon yourself to invest in something like this, to collect something like this, and to take care of it. And to me, that's why I love to collect, is because, it's my, it's like I'm in charge of taking care of this stuff.
It's just not a knick-knack on the shelf. It's got a history. It's got a story behind it.
It's a freaking dinosaur bone. What more do you want? It's awesome, It's like, I picked up this really cool thing at Sam's Club, well, check out my dinosaur bone,
Yeah.
It's awesome, And to me, that's just, God, man, that's just too, I'm touching it. You can touch it, That's just too cool, man. So, is there anything else that you would like to add to the guys out there and gals out there that are watching this? Maybe some kids that want to do this.
It's one of those things. I mean, if you do find fossils, ask your local museum, ask your local historian, take them in. I mean, there's new stuff found all the time. When you find stuff, ask somebody about it, show it around.
Yeah.
You might be surprised. You might get something named after you.
Yeah, there you go. I'd like there to be a Chaseosaurus.
Chaseosaurus.
Chase a Histriosaurus.
He'd have his own tail in his mouth.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that one, man. No, but here's also the other thing too is you got to keep in mind where you're digging, where you're collecting, the local laws in your states, like out here, out west. Go ahead.
There are a lot of different laws. Federal and state property, you can't pick up anything that's vertebrate. You cannot, if it had a backbone, you cannot touch it. If it's your own BLM, Forest Service property, you can't pick up anything like that.
Politicians are kosher because they're all spineless. So
well, yeah, you can pick up all the politicians you want. No, it's if you're on private property, you are allowed to pick up dinosaur bone, fossil shells, things like that. You can do that on private property.
With landowners' permission. As long as you got landowners' permission, you're good to go. But on your federal and state and government lands, you're not allowed to collect this stuff.
Unless you want to go to school and get the permits, then you can do it. Then you're happy. They'll have to be happy to let you dig there.
Yeah. So make sure that when you go to collect stuff, that you know your own local laws in your area, and that's really easy to do. You can go down to your local museum. You don't have to call the Smithsonian. You can go down to your local museum. In your town where you're at right now is an awesome museum that already knows the history of this area. And there are local people, local historians, local rock hounds, guys like Ty, in your area where you're sitting right now. You just got to go down there and talk to them. And find out what there is to find, what there is to discover. Because, the one expression that I cannot stand is that on this spot and whatever, nothing happened. Something always happened. It doesn't matter. Like right here where we're standing, a dinosaur's bones came to rest. A dinosaur's bones came here where we're standing.
Yep, they were living, dying, and eating each other right here where we sit.
And wherever you go, wherever you're at, that's what you're going to find. You're going to find history. So, that's why we do this. This is why we chase history. Is not only to be around it, but also to discover it, and more importantly, to take care of it once it's been discovered. Ty, I can't thank you enough, dude. God, it's a dinosaur bone. It's so cool, man. Dude, Ty, man, I cannot thank you enough for bringing us out here. And now we're back. So this is like your prep shop.
This is the prep shop. This is the chicken coop group, is what we call ours.
Group. It used to be a former chicken coop.
It used to be a chicken coop back there, yes.
Well, chickens are dinosaurs.
They're dinosaurs, close enough.
Yeah, it works, man. But the thing about this place is there's so much little stuff, and this place just seems so awesome. I got an idea. Okay. I know who can handle this place. Sweet. Isaac. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to lead this interview. I want you to interview Ty, and any and all questions you got, buddy, you just go at it. So here's what I'm gonna do. Chase Pipes, I'm gonna take the camera, and I'm gonna turn the interview over to my son, Isaac Russell Pipes.
Yep.
So
okay.
Isaac, you're gonna lead the interview. All right?
Yep. So it's gonna be awesome.
Is it gonna be awesome?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. They need to watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just watch every single episode of Chasing History and follow us on Facebook. That's Facebook.com/. them on Twitter because we hate Twitter. Follow us on YouTube because you can watch our YouTube channel, and man, you would be freaked out by what we show you guys.
All right, awesome.